So in this video, I'm just going to go over some basic Ansible roles. I'm going to create 4 different roles here, one for hostname, one for NTP configuration, one for message of the day, and one for Firewalld. I've got a host sitting over here in the Linux Academy AWS Playground Lab, and it's got a Route 53 domain with DNS A record. So I define that over here as my host under the servers host group. So real quick, I'm going to speed this up. I'm going to configure the playbook to call the roles, and then we'll build some of the roles. Alright, so first things first, I'm creating a playbook to call all the roles. First role we're going to create is a hostname. And you can see over here my roles directory is empty. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Ansible -galaxy init command here. That's going to create the directory structure for my role. So call it hostname. It says it was a role hostname created successfully. And now if I go over here to roles, I created in the wrong place. So let me go ahead and delete that actually. I want to create that in the roles directory. There we go. So now, I did it again. Sorry. Let's see, Ansible. There. Alright, now it's in the right place. So as you can see, I've got my roles directory here. Hostname, it's got all these different files and directories created for it. We can do that manually, or you can just use the Ansible Galaxy init command. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and build the hostname role real quick, speed it up, and then we'll go over the role real quick. Alright, so what I've gone ahead and done is the playbook's going to call the hostname role. You watched me create the directory earlier, but we're going to become root, and we're going to set the hostname, and it's going to use the Ansible calls them magic variables, but it's going to use the inventory hostname that's defined in the inventory file that I use. So it's going to use this hostname defined here, and then after the hostname is set, we're going to go ahead and edit ASCII hosts because all this does is use hostname CTL in the systemd service to edit the hostname. It doesn't edit ASCII hosts. We do that ourselves. So again, we're going to come root. We're going to use the lineinfile module. Over here, I have the page bullet for lineinfile. And we're looking for a line in destination ASCII host. And we want to place, when Ansible gathers facts, it's gonna grab the IPv4 address, the host name, and the fully qualified domain name. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this expression here to find the instance of 127.0.0.1 and replace it with the IPv4 address space hostname dot fully qualified domain name. And I want it to be present. I'm going to save that, clear here. And I did this earlier as a test, but I'm just going to go ahead and do the run the playbook here against the host. And we can see I have a syntax error somewhere. Let's go back here. Okay, let me set this back real quick. Oops. Hosts roles. And that's going to go right there. Right. Should take care of that. All right, so it's gathering facts, and that's where it's going to pull some of the variables for right here, the address, domain name, and hostname. All right, and it's done. So let's go verify here. Let's do let's SSH the machine here, and let's do a cat of ASCII hosts here. And lo and behold, 127.0.0.1 is gone. And now I have the host name along with the fully qualified domain name and the IP address, obviously. So let's go ahead and let's write another role. Let's do Firewalld this time. And I'm going to speed it up. I'm going to create the Firewalld role, and then we'll go over it. All right, so I've gone ahead and I've built the Firewalld role. Again, using the Ansible Galaxy init command to build the role directory. So if you look over here on the right, I've been looking at the Ansible documentation for some of these modules. The yum module is pretty self-explanatory. It's just like doing a yum install. Yum, the name of the package you want to install. I want a present. And then I go ahead and I start and I enable Firewalld, so it's persistent upon reboot. And then I go ahead and I open the port in Firewalld. So we'll get the Firewalld module. We can define a port, UDP TCP if we want it permanent, and then enable or disable if we want to add or remove that from the firewall. It's similar to doing a firewall CMD add or remove. I'll go ahead and save that, and then we'll go ahead and we'll do a run this playbook here. And then again, it's going to run through the host name, which is already configured, so it shouldn't reconfigure it, although it is going to add another entry to ASCII host, or it should, because, oh, what do we got here? Okay, so I need my become yes here. Actually forgot that. We have to become a root here. So let's add that real quick. Yes. All right, and let's go ahead and run that playbook again. It's running through. So again, we're installing Firewalld if it's not installed, starting it, enabling it, adding port 443 permanently to the firewall. All right, so it looks like that took. So let's SSH back in here, and let's do a sudo firewall cmd -cmd -list all. And oh, something I forgot about. It's not going to show up here until we restart firewall CMD. So if I do a systemctl restart firewall d sudo, and then do my firewall CMD list all. 443 is here now. So what I could do is after we add the port here, we could also restart the service. So restart Firewalld service module. Oh, we'll have to become yes. The module is going to be service, and then the name of the service Firewalld, and then state restarted. I believe, let me double check over here in the service module. State restarted. Yeah. So I'm 100% sure this is going to work, so I'm not going to go through it. But yes, we could add this into this role to ensure we restart Firewalld after we've added this service. So let me exit here back to our control node. So we've got hostname and Firewalld roles configured. Let's go ahead and let's do the NTP configuration role, NTP config. I'm going to create that real quick, speed up, and then we'll go over it real quick. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've again added the NTP config role to the playbook that calls roles, created the directory structure for the NTP config role in our tasks main.yaml, like we do in every role directory structure. I've configured all the tasks for configuring NTP, so we're going to install Crony if not installed using the yum module. We're going to start and enable CronyD. I'm going to use the lineinfile module, lineinfile, to edit the etc cronyconf and add the line server, and then I have a variable here I've defined, NTP server, so the address of the server, and I've defined that in the roles directory structure in the vars directory in the main.yaml. So NTP server variable as just 1.1.1.1 because I don't have an NTP server configured at the moment. And then we're going to restart CronyD, similar to the way we did with Firewalld. And then obviously I put become yes on everything. So let's go ahead and let's run this playbook again. And it's going to run through the hostname and the Firewalld roles, but those should be quick because it shouldn't have to do anything with those. Okay. You see it running through. It's going to restart Firewalld, obviously. And then it looks like we've got a error here, no package CronyD available. Might have, apologies. I just want Crony. CronyD is the name of the Crony service. So again, we'll run through this. And you can skip the other roles. You know, if I just went in here and I commented these two out, it would just skip those, or I can do a -- step in my ad hoc command when I run the playbook. It would skip those as well. So now we're installing Crony if it's not installed. It's installed, it's started, it's enabled. We're editing etc cronyconf, and it's done. So now if I SSH back into that machine, I cat etc crony.conf here, you can see it's added my line here, server 1.1.1.1. So I could get as detailed as I want, as if I were entering a real NTP configuration with this variable here. So let's exit, Control L, clear screen there. And let's add one more, let's go over one more role. Let's do mode of the day. So it's called motd, message of the day, sorry. I'm actually going to comment these out, so when I go ahead and rerun again, I don't have to run through those again. And then we're going to use the Ansible Galaxy, a init command here to create our role directory structure, motd is created. We're going to edit our tasks main.yaml, and I'm going to speed it up, and then we'll go over it. Alright, so you might be laughing at the Caterpie on the screen right now. But what we did was we just created the quick role real quick. We used the template module, which is it's fairly intuitive. You know, where's the template you want to use? Where do you want to put that template? And who's the owner, group, and the permissions for that file. So I'm taking it from this role directory here under files, and I'm looking for the motd.j2 template. And I want to place that template inside the remote machines ASCII motd. Root's going to own it, root's going to be the group, and these are the permissions. So I went ahead and I created motd.j2, and I just took some ASCII art here of a Caterpie. So now if I go ahead and I run this playbook here against the machine, and I think, yep, I commented out these first three roles, so it's just going to run the motd role here. And I might have to become, yeah, not writable. Okay. So let's go back to main here. Let's come, yes. Save that. We're going to run again. All right, so it's set the motd and ASCII motd in the remote machine. So let's SSH over there real quick. And let's check that out. Let's do cat ASCII motd. And there it is. The ASCII Caterpie we put there. And that's just, you know, if you're looking to make some basic roles to configure your system all at once, this is how you do it. You know, you could run all these roles at once in a playbook, but it's just a lot easier to create. You know, I could take all of these tasks and put them in one playbook and use that, but it's just a lot easier if you create roles, because they're like little functions you can pass around and use and edit as you want for all of your playbooks.